And go.
Good evening, everyone. OJ Simpson's died, and the media spin is crazy. Whoopi Goldberg says Republicans want to bring back slavery. Is the Dexter Reed shooting the new Black Lives Matter movement for the 2024 election season? And tonight, we are starting out talking about the Iranian attack on Israel, massive drone strikes throughout the day tonight. Are we about to enter World War III? And would this have been any different if Trump were in office? Let's go. Enemy territory here. Hello, hello, hello. It is Saturday and it's time for Pop and Politics. We are talking about the latest in hot topics, news, and entertainment. I'm KJ along with my amazing co-hosts. We have Crystal Jenkins.
Hey guys.
Yana. All right. And Shelly E. Join the conversation by leaving a comment on YouTube or Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. And don't just comment, subscribe. If you miss us on YouTube, you can watch us on Rumble, or you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the same name, Pop and Politics. We are an independent media, and if you want to support what we do, your super chats and donations go a long way in helping us produce conservative content. Any amount is greatly appreciated, guys. We love our super chatters. You know, this is not just a podcast, this is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that understand we're living in urgent times, guys. Oh my goodness, we may be about to enter World War III. Not only that, but there is a target on our backs because we love freedom, but we continue to stand. Let's stand together, subscribe, so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off.
Let's set it off.
So we are getting right into it tonight. Breaking news out today in Israel. Iran launched a massive drone attack and ballistic missiles toward Israel tonight, actually earlier today, following through on its threats of retaliation against the Jewish state after several top Iranian commanders were killed in a suspected Israeli strike in Syria earlier this month. This is according to the National Review. The United States has acted to defend Israel from the onslaught, which marks the first direct attack on Israel by Iran. Until now, Iran relied on proxies such as Hamas and Hezbollah. The AP is reporting that American forces have intercepted and shot down several drones before they reached the Israeli airspace, though no number has been confirmed. Ladies, you know, we have been talking about this for the past year. Are we headed into World War III? How will this would this have been stopped if Trump were in office? And how does it look like if he is reelected in 2024 this November? Will we stand against this? Shelley, I want to start off with you tonight. What are your thoughts on all of this?
Well, first, my thoughts and prayers are with the Israeli people. Number one. Number two, the UK, the United States, and Britain and France are working to engage or disengage those drones that are being sent into Israel. I don't know necessarily that Hamas or Hezbollah would not have done anything, certainly like October the 7th, if Trump were in office. But I do believe that had they done something, it would have been very tempered, if you will, if that's the right word. So I don't know for sure, again, but that's just my belief. But I do hope that Israel takes out those drones, and Iran and the Ayatollah and the army, it needs to be gone. They are not fit for humankind. People like that, terrorists are just not fit for humankind.
Yeah, Crystal, I want to get your thoughts. Trump did post on Truth Social, says Israel is under attack. This should never have been allowed to happen. This would never have happened if I were president. What are your thoughts on this attack and his response there?
Yeah, I mean, it's true. And anybody who says it's not, you're like seriously TDS, Trump deranged. The facts is Trump knows how to play the game. And Iran didn't have any money to carry out any attacks because the people who understand business or people who understand politics is like, this is all about power and money. And so when you drain these people dry, which, are evil people, and you take away their ability to attack you, it doesn't matter if they hate you or not. Like, you just kind of you drain them dry, and you do that by being strong, and you being and we were energy independent and energy dominant, so we didn't need oil from them or anything. And so when the Trump administration ended, and we got sleepy Joe Biden in there, and Barack Hussein Obama helped helped Iran to get money, then these types of things happen. So I mean, it's so true that Trump prevented this, just peace through strength and being strong and being strategic. And I'm just so sad for Israel and what the world is going into. I'm sad for my children. I have school-age children that this is their war to fight. And so I'm starting off today just really, really upset.
Yeah, it is upsetting, Yana. I mean, a 10-year-old girl has been seriously injured due to falling debris in southern Israel, according to MDA, Israel's National EMS Ambulance Service. And again, if full-out war does break out, we'll probably see many more casualties. What are your thoughts to that, and what's to come?
It is really sad. I have relatives. I have my classmate that lives there. It's really, really sad that this is an ongoing crisis that is just keeps on going. And I think that with Trump, none of this would have happened. October 7th would have not happened, and this attack would have not happened because he was, first of all, a huge supporter of Israel. When he moved the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem, it was a huge deal. The Arabs and the leftists didn't like that. Then he also spoke out against Islamic fundamentalism, which the left doesn't want to touch because that would, I don't know, they just don't want to touch Islam. But that is something that I agree with Shelley, that we need to address. That is not something like Iranian regime. It should not exist. And it should have not existed. They're really, I mean, they're terrible for their own people, and they're terrible for the rest of the world.
Yeah, I mean, ladies, right now Trump is up the road from us in Pennsylvania, and we're here in Maryland. He's in Pennsylvania tonight at a rally, and he's launching attacks. He launched attacks against Biden, and speaking of this war and a lot of other things. He's argued that the attack on Israel by Hamas militant group, as well as the Russian invasion in Ukraine, would not have occurred if Biden was not elected. He says here, and I quote, "The weaknesses we've shown, it's unbelievable, and it would not have happened if we were in office," Trump said. Yet we're seeing polls out actually Friday, I believe, yesterday, are saying that he's lost that big lead he had over Biden just a couple of months ago. Now they've come, which we'll see probably throughout this election cycle, but he's lost the lead. How do you think this will play out with this election as this war unfolds?
Yeah, I think I've been saying it, not only myself, but millions of other people in America certainly have been saying this, at least since last year. Do not underestimate the left to do anything to win the election. Don't underestimate them. They don't play fairly, if you will. They don't play by the rules, the democratic rules that they always say democracy is in jeopardy. They don't play by those rules. That's number one. Number two, terrorists cannot be negotiated with. This
Yeah.
latest attack on Israel, not just the Iranian drone attack, but the Hamas attack on October the 7th, and way before, since Israel has been founded, every accord or peace accord or treaty, Camp David Accord, every negotiation has been broken by Hamas, Hezbollah, the PLO, and any other terrorist group. They have broken any agreement. So this idea that we're going to negotiate with them and this fake ceasefire, these Democrats and leftists, they want to get holier than thou all of a sudden and want to blame the people who are actually fighting to stay alive for good. They want to blame them, tell them to cease fire. Again, I'm going to quote Dennis Prager. If Hamas or any other terrorist group puts down their arms, there will be instant peace. If Israel puts down its arms, there will be instant death.
Yeah. And it's so sad. It's so sad that we're even like talking about that. I mean, we know that these people, just based on their culture, based on their religion, they hate order, they hate prosperity. I mean, that's just truth. Like that's just the truth. And we see it every single day. Like even some of the people who I was watching Libs of TikTok, and they had a Iranian or a Muslim lady, and she was just saying, yeah, I wish you guys get murdered, or like on Christian nations don't say that. Like Judeo-Christian nations really just, we don't say those types of things. And to see this culture of death and destruction and war, and to even have Americans questioning our loyalty to people who have the same values as us, like we are just in a really sad time. And I feel like I was just like, get all of them out of our country. Like that's just how I feel about the squad, Rashida Tlaib. Like, I don't want none of them Negroes in our country anymore. I'm sick of them.
Yeah, I mean, no, you don't hear about this in other countries. People within, targeting, saying these things about the country. You had this in Michigan where you had this large amount of, and I'm sad to say, it was, I believe, pro-Palestinian rally, and they were shouting "Death to America." And then to make matters worse, that sad excuse for a press secretary, Caron Jean-Pierre, had the nerve to not even address it when asked about it. She couldn't denounce it. She couldn't say this is wrong. This is something that we don't go for. It's pitiful. It's disgraceful.
It honestly feels like we don't have a country at this point where, like you said, people can shout things like that, like "Death to America" on the street. Also, in terms of Israel, the fact that the hostages were not all returned, and we do not know whether they're dead or alive, but regardless, we don't have their bodies, even if they are dead. And so imagine if these were American people that were kidnapped, and then we just decided to cease fire. That we just, I mean, it just doesn't work like that. So why is it okay for Hamas to kidnap people, and then the whole world demanding that they should be spared? Like that it is mind-boggling. So like any nation that wants to win has to win the war. You don't give up. You don't play nice with terrorists. You don't play nice with people who want to exterminate you. And so I think anyone who is calling for ceasefire, who is calling for America to be weak in these instances, they just want to lose.
Mhm. Oh, they don't understand the war.
Hmm.
You have a lot of these college students, a lot of these leftists that, yell out these things. And what do they think is going to happen when you have a situation such as this, even with the whole Gaza situation, where a nation can be brought to a standstill just because, terrorists say that they're using children and women and civilians as masks, as say, every time you launch missiles at us, kids are dying. They're dying because they're using these civilians as human shields. So we're supposed to stop bombing because you are using civilians as human shields. It's a blackmail tactic. You can't agree to that. You can't say I'm going to stop just because the way they decide to fight. Same way with this whole thing. I mean, we cannot negotiate with terrorists.
Yeah.
No, you
Last
can't.
question on this, though, before we move on. And again, as I mentioned, there is a poll out. I believe it was a New York Times Siena poll. Trump is technically still leading with a 1 point margin in this New York Times Siena poll, with the support of 46% of respondents compared to Biden's 45. If the election was between two major party candidates, but the numbers are significantly closer than earlier results, which were in February. We saw a lead by 5% by Trump. Same poll. So what is the message that we need to get out to independents, to people who are on the fence, in relation to our safety as a nation and the war? What is to say? Trump is the best answer in this situation. And I want to start with you on this, Shelley.
My message would be America and Israel are the best countries representing and protecting the West. Because if America goes, if Israel goes, then Western civilization has gone. It goes away. We might as well raise the white flags if that's the case. Because if we don't fight for and with Israel and America, what are we fighting for? We have no country. We have nothing to stand on. We will be all wrapped, all four of us, we will be wrapped in hijabs from head to toe. That's what we will be.
The devil is a liar. My message to independents is stop being so freaking stupid. Like, y'all are so dumb. Like, it irritates the snot out of me. I was watching a Morning Joe show at Independence, quote unquote, whatever you call that. Like, they will admit that they cannot even buy a house, that they can't afford things at the grocery store, that Joe Biden is an absolute disaster of a president, but Trump is mean. How do you talk to people like that? How do you even begin to take people like that seriously? So the message to independence is stop, get over yourself, stop being so freaking stupid. Choose your family, choose your future first. This has nothing to do with anything. You don't have to like the dude. You don't have to like Trump.
Yeah, Yana, I mean, what is your message to independents, to right-leaning Democrats who are on the fence about voting for Trump in relation to our protection within our country, our safety and foreign relations, especially from you coming from Russia? What is your message there?
Well, unfortunately, I mean, people got to be afraid at this point of what is happening here. I came here in late 90s, and the reason why we left Russia at the time is because we had chaos. We had complete chaos. We did not have a strong leader at the time, and it was lawlessness. There was war. There was Islamic terrorism, and this is what we're having here. And it's really, really scary that when you don't have a strong leader, when you have globalists um, influencing the leadership, when you have enemies within the country, it's really, really scary. So I think, and I hope independents will understand that it's not time to, hide your head in the sand, like, just not looking, closing your eyes. Um, and that's what I see. That's the issue that I see with America, is that people, oh, I don't want to really watch politics, or, I don't really trust anyone, and I'm just not going to vote, or I'm just going to vote for some rando, and, whatever. And that is the kind of attitude that is not going to get us out of this trouble. Like, you have to take a stand. You have to take sides. Like, stop being neutral. It doesn't work that way.
Right. Yeah, I want to acknowledge our super chatters tonight. We see you guys. Thank you so much for supporting us. We have here, let's see here, I have Nancy. Thank you so much. Certainly appreciate your super chatter there. Who else do we have? Cynthia. Hey, Cynthia. She says, I stand with Israel. Thank you for this discussion. Absolutely. All right. And Miss Liz Phillips. Thank you, Miss Liz. Certainly appreciate you tonight. All right. And then Abraham, he says the phrase pro-Palestine is a euphemism for pro-Hamas. The left has always weaponized language. Absolutely.
You got it. Thank you.
Yes.
But what do these people have in common with Palestine? Like, it's so amazing to me. Like, some of these people that enjoy the freedoms that our country gives, or like the fact that they can say that and not get their head cut off. Like, what do you have in common with Hamas or
a victim mindset? A victim mindset.
Yeah, like, it's like you're just saying these things and you don't know anything about this culture. You don't know anything about, and you're just, oh, pro-Palestine. Oh, Israel's bad because they're white. You're just saying
it's the same as BLM. It's the same with Black Lives Matter. These are Marxists that are using any kind of cause to push the agenda of some sort of like what is it? They call it
it's Zionist.
Well, anti-Zionist and also
anti-Semitic.
Not exactly. No, I'm thinking of what the Marxists. They're anti like
capitalists.
Something like that. Yeah, I know. We know where you're going.
Monarchy. All the like. What is it?
Patriarchy.
Yeah, anti-colonialism.
Yeah, colonialism. All that. So this is what they're conflating this whole thing with, and they're just using this Palestine situation with that. And there's a lot of Marxists, a lot of communists are within this pro-Palestine movement, and they're just and I guess their hope is through Palestine they will implement some kind of communist revolution in the region or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Well, we will continue to follow this story throughout the night. We're getting live updates, so we'll keep you all updated as we go through the show tonight. Want to move on. Some additional news that broke out recently was, of course, OJ Simpson's passing.
The juice.
Right. What were you saying, Shelley?
The juice was squeezed.
Yeah. Yep. So yes, he was. He died on the 10th, April 10th, at the age of 76 years old. He died of cancer. According to Associated Press, football great. His real name was Orenthal James Simpson, known as OJ. Who was accused and ultimately acquitted in the killings of his ex-wife and friend, died at age 76. So, of course, this death, set off a firestorm within social media, kind of brought back up the infamous case that I mentioned from 1995, the OJ Simpson trial. Many people, with Gen X or Gen Z?
Gen Xers.
Yeah. Gen Xers, remember where you were when the verdict was handed down. Not only that, but it was all over TV. I think this was probably easily, or can be said, the first real news that aired 24/7. And one of my memories of it was Oprah showing it. She showed when the verdict was handed down, and you had her audience, her studio audience, and you saw all the black people kind of like, were happy, and then the white people were like in shock. I mean, this was major.
Right.
And not only that, but it caused a lot of race issues within the United States, because the way the media framed it, it was framed as a racially framed narrative. Speaking of that, I want you guys to take a look at this video of this CNN anchor who was talking about the trial and it being handed down. And look how she has framed this. And then I want to get your response.
OJ Simpson was the leader of the civil rights movement of his era. You know, he wasn't a social justice leader, but he represented something for the Black community in that moment, in that trial, particularly because there were 2 white people who had been killed, and the history around how Black people have been persecuted during slavery. There were just so many layers. And I guess I would just close with this, is that there was racial tension then, there is racial tension now. It might not be the backdrop of the Trump campaign, but until this country is ready to actually have an honest conversation about the racial dynamics from our origin story till today, we will always have moments like OJ Simpson that manifest, and our country will always be divided if we don't actually deal with the issue of race.
She's an idiot.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
So what is she talking about when she says, I want to start off with you, Shelley, when she says, until we have the reckoning of race in this country, we're going to have moments like the OJ Simpson case. Is she talking about we're going to have moments? What is she talking about?
Yes, that's what she's talking about. She is, I don't know, I'm going to call her a cog, if you will. She's a cog for the left. And basically, she's telling us that there will be other moments to start race, if you will, race wars or racially motivated BLM type events. Yeah, we're going to get more. Remember, this is an election year. This is an election year. And I said before, don't underestimate the left's abilities to manipulate, and particularly around race. Like you, I remember where I was when the OJ verdict. I was literally driving down south on Lock Raven Boulevard at the light, and the verdict came through right at, I think, Cold Spring and Lock Raven, or Belvedere and Lock Raven, and the verdict came through. This was a significant event. It did exacerbate, if you will, the division, the racial divide in America, and a lot of Gen Xers and baby boomers celebrated, Black people, they celebrated this man murdering, I'm going to say murdering because there's a difference between killing and murdering these 2 people. Yes, he was acquitted. And we can talk about that as we go along. Yes, he was acquitted. But for Black people, the fact that he got off and murdered 2 white people, it didn't matter. They just celebrated that a Black man basically beat the system.
Yeah, I mean, this, along with the Rodney King trial, were 2 trials that did cause, or it was at least the narrative that it was revenge this trial was revenge for the Rodney King acquittals and police corruption more generally. This is what the narrative and people, they say Black people felt like. What are your thoughts on this, Crystal? Her comments and then the spectacle surrounding OJ's death.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with race. This has everything to do with Blacks really not having any honor, because, okay, he was acquitted, but for them to make jokes about him actually killing 2 white people and think that it's funny and that somehow revenge or like just shows that there's like just shows a culture of just utter like dishonor. I mean, like, why would we celebrate that like it's cute and then get mad when somebody treats you like you said? Like, we got offended because Trump tried to sell us sneakers because we're so above that, but yet and still you're celebrating somebody that you believe is guilty of murder of two people, and I don't care for whatever reason, that is never okay. It's different if we're saying, hey, we don't believe that he did it. Because I have some questions. I really do. Because, you know, the trial, you know, we believe that, you know, you have to be proved guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And one could argue that the prosecutor did not do that. But that's not what these people are saying. This is not what the blacks are saying. They're saying, yeah, ha, 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 he got away with it. And y'all get away with stuff all the time. So we could get away with, like, just utter foolishness. It's so embarrassing to me. It really is embarrassing.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this, Yana? Are you familiar with the case here? And if so, what do you think about the CNN comments?
I mean, that was some kind of word salad. I couldn't really understand what the heck she was saying. Civil rights leader? What? Like, that is an insult to actual civil rights leaders and people who actually wanted to improve the lives of everyone and Black people in America. And to call someone who is, I mean, most likely murdered to people that, from when I looked into, I remember, you know, I heard of this case, of course, you know, when I came to America, and eventually I looked into it. I mean, to me, he did it. So, and it's like, why are you, like, how could you put someone like that at the same rank as some sort of civil rights leader? That is embarrassing to even say that. And so, Crystal is right. Like, this is just bad luck for Black people to celebrate that he was acquitted, even though most people believe that he probably did it. And so, just because he's Black, oh yay, you know, like, he got off. But the thing is that eventually, this kind of mentality is going to turn against the Black community. I mean, it's already turning against them. And all the actual leaders, you know, people with honor who fought for equal rights for everyone, it's like we're just forgetting about them. Like, their contributions are no longer even valued. And eventually, unfortunately, it's going to turn into some sort of race war. And who is going to perpetuate it, and who is perpetuating it right now, are the Black people. Black people are keeping racism alive.
And it's Black. It's bougie Blacks. Like, this girl worked for Barack Hussein Obama. I'm gonna keep saying it. She worked for him, and they will not have to suffer the consequences that these poor African Americans that ain't thinking about white folks. Like, and they just keep pushing it, and it's so frustrating, because it's like, these are the people that people look up to. And she with her nappy weave, it's still weave, sis. It's still weave. You might as well get a yaki straight. It's weave, sitting up there on CNN and speaking for Black folks. And it's just like, girl.
Because it's to keep their jobs alive. That's right. It's to keep their jobs. If there was no racism, if the relations improved between races in the country, a lot of people would lose their job.
And not only that, but it's sad that we are here in 2024, and there are and I'm not going to say a segment, Black people idolize skin color. They idolize race. You know, we are supposed to be a godly people, and yet there's an extreme idolatry of race. Exactly. And if we can't see it, then there's no help for us. And this is why you look at this OJ Simpson case, and they break it down in a racial way of Black against white, when really, if you really want to get into it, the case was about affluence, money in the system. Yeah. This man was able to pay for the top attorney. Absolutely. He was a rich man. He hung. OJ didn't even look at himself as Black.
Exactly. That's the irony.
I don't fault him. I don't fault OJ for hiring the best defense. This was the best defense. And I even from that time, initially when he first got off or when he was first arrested, there was this pall of disbelief across the country because, he was this famous football star. He was likable. He looked good. He had a very good career in the commercials, in the movies. So you didn't want to believe that he could do something this heinous, right? Yeah. After the trial, and then of course the trial turned into this racial divide, making Mark Furman the scapegoat. No, the prosecution did not prove their case. Johnny Cochran owned that courtroom. And of course, he became famous in all the other parts to that, along with the Kardashian father. Money, fame, publicity, all of that was there. So, but what got lost ultimately were two dead people who were damn near decapitated.
Yeah, and that's what I think. Like, I think that is so dishonorable of Black people. Like, OJ didn't even say, he used to say, I'm not Black, I'm OJ. Like, he was with the whites. Like, and we hated that. Oh, but when he is accused of killing two white people, you're all of a sudden he the brother man. Like, that is a despicable way of thinking. And like you said, KJ, it's like an idol worshiper. And it's so stupid. Newsflash, geniuses, you didn't do a single thing to make your skin brown. You didn't accomplish anything. Your mama and daddy weren't great. God made you that way. You didn't do a single thing. How about we start the content of your character? How about we start working on that?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, and not only that, but then what we have now is the left, liberals on the left, white liberals and the liberals in general are using this idolatry of race, of ethnicity. They're using it to play on election, for votes. And Black people are allowing themselves to be used. You're allowing yourself, and we try not to. They talk about us as Black conservatives, like we're the Uncle Toms. What they're using the whole name wrong, because that is not what the book was about. If anything, you would say Toby, but they're calling us Uncle Toms and things like that. But we are independent thinkers. We're not slaves of race, of pigment.
I wear the Uncle Tom money. I wear it. And one of the things I'm a loose association. Again, I think a couple weeks ago we talked about how there's just this sense, at least among a lot of Black culture, that death is idolized. And I'm not saying that OJ's trial caused it, but it didn't help. I think this was part of the devolution of Black people devaluing life. It added to that, because to Black people, we kill each other or we murder each other, right? We murder each other, we murder children, they're murdered every day. And it's like, okay, we have a funeral and we do the falling out, the funeral, and the rightful grief, because people are grieving. But then the next day it happens again. No, I mean, it's ridiculous how our culture has devolved so much. Black people are as tribal, as racist, as, I'm going to use your word, Crystal, as ignorant, if you will, as we have ever been. And it's shameful. We should be ashamed of ourselves, but we're not, or at least most of us are not. Unfortunately, the ones.
Yeah, and let me just say this, because I don't want anyone looking at this and saying, oh, these women hate Black people, they despise their race. No, we say this out of, it's sad. We are saddened to say these things. And it's not something that we're proud of, but you cannot shy away from the truth. Yeah. And the truth is the best thing that our race, our community, our country needs. And this is what the left is trying to hide, the truth. And we know why. It's because it's not even about politics. This is much higher than that. It's a spiritual warfare. The enemy does not like truth, and they want to hide it from us. They fuel and thrive on lies. But we're here to tell the truth, whether it's something that is shameful. We don't like to talk about this as Black women, but it's true. There's an idolatry of race within our community, and it needs to be called out and stopped.
And
And
we have a
we
country.
talk about in the comments, we get these hecklers every now and then who say, oh, all you did is talk about black women and you don't like black women this and black women that. No, we tell the truth. And the liberal left is trying to use black people because they idolize race and they're using it and weaponizing it for votes. And
I was going to say, we have one country. So, and when I was coming to this country, I was under the impression that this is a country that has dealt with inequalities, that this is a country where people, hate the idea of racism, and that we won't perpetuate racism, that we actually have to move on from it. And where else are we going to go? So, what kind of country, like the racists on I say basically these leftist racists, what are they trying to accomplish with perpetuating racism? We have nowhere else to go. Like, we have to get along.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not gonna be manipulated by those people. Oh, you hate yourself, and oh my God, you're talking about black people. Let me tell you something. Y'all are the ones that hate black people, because I quote Roland Fryer when it say, "I love these people too much to lie to them. I am not going to lie to the blacks just because I want to be invited to the cookout, Mr. Roland Martin. I am not going to lie to the blacks because I somehow want their approval or somehow." Let me tell you, my approval comes from God. And at the end of the day, look at your life, black people, and see have the elites and the Roland Martins and the Barack Hussein Obamas and all of those people, has your life improved? And that will tell you who hates you and who loves you.
Yeah. And to your question, Yana, the ultimate end is chaos.
Right.
They want to tear down this country, our communities, so they can build back something that where there's one world order, one global order, right? And so that is how they can usher in. And me, as a Bible believer, I believe it's the Antichrist, it's the end of the world. This is the end. It's chaos. They're not trying to make this country better. They don't. Right. There was a small few, the ones that are just being used on the left, that to believe that everything they're doing is to help build up the country. There are some that believe, but the ones that are all the way at the top in power, the Pelosi's, the Obamas, all of them, and some on the right too. There's some on the right, that establishment right-wing people that are for this too. They want chaos to destroy what we have now, the great experiment of America, and usher in one world government. That's what it is. It's about power. It is. And we're here to tell, this is what we do. We're here to tell the truth, whether we be damned or not.
Yeah. And children have to live here.
All where they may.
Exactly. KJ, our children have to live here.
Like,
where they gonna go? They gonna go back to Africa? Where y'all gonna go? I really
Kumbaya. Kumbaya.
Where are y'all gonna go after America is done with y'all? I'm telling you, black folks' last hope is the fact that white people are guilty. Because let me tell you something, them people over in Africa, them people over in Asia, India, they don't give a damn about what y'all think about them, okay? White people are the only people that care and can be manipulated by the blacks.
And not only that, the Africans, every year you get 1 million or plus or more Africans coming here. So I mean, if America was so racist, you got people in Africa, that black people, dark-skinned people, coming here by the droves every damn year. They come here legally, but they come here.
And they don't fool with the blacks. They don't fool with the blacks. That's why I said nobody else can be manipulated. Even the Africans that come over here don't fool with the blacks.
And immigrants don't care about the perceived racism. They just do what they gotta do. They get education, they get jobs, they buy their houses, they raise their families, and they don't even have any second thought about some sort of racist issues here.
Yeah, I have to acknowledge our super chatters. We do have additional super chatters. Thank you guys so much. Certainly appreciate that. Mark's back. Hey, Mark. He says, evening, ladies. Love you all. Keep preaching the truth. Thank you so much, Mark. All right. And Abraham again. Wow. Thanks, Abraham.
Thank you.
Right about now, OJ is trying to explain himself to his creator. Absolutely. Very good comment. And on that, we'll move on. But, you know, basically, I mean, that's all you can really say. Who are we? I don't know. I mean, when it comes down to it, nobody knows what happened that day that terrible murder occurred. But God and the people that were there, or now OJ. So God will judge. God will judge. And so, you know, that is the ultimate judgment. And he has met his maker and he will be judged.
Yeah.
So there it is. So again, you're watching Poppin' Politics. This is a special broadcast, Saturday night broadcast. We are live in the studio every Wednesday at 8 p.m. And then we do these virtual broadcasts every Monday and Friday or Saturday.
Yes, hit the like button and share.
Yes, absolutely. Hit the like button and share. And we appreciate all the comments, guys. So again, we are a community of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that understand we're living in urgent times now more than ever. And there's a target on our backs because we love freedom and we stand up for it. We fight for it. And so together, by subscribing, by joining our community here, we can amplify this rallying call for freedom.
Absolutely.
All right. So moving right along, our next topic tonight, I want to talk about The View. So this is our counter segment of The Counter View. I'm not sure if we have our, do we have that thing we always put up? Oh, okay. So anyway, yeah, this is our counter segment to The View. And so what we're going to do is, this is a segment where they are responding to the decision in Arizona. And Whoopi says some very shocking, she makes some shocking comments here. Let me see here. Take a look here.
Despicable.
Take a look at the things that they're rolling back. Remember, I said ages ago, you know, they, in their minds, they want to bring slavery back. They're okay with it because you see, things change. You know, one of the good things about the Supreme Court is you can fight to make sure you make stuff better. You don't generally fight to make stuff worse. Or to roll back. And to me, if you're okay rolling that back, when things were not even a state, when we had no say, so how's that going to roll? How's that going to roll? What's the next thing? Because, you know, on this, with
and she should be one of the first on the plantation too, sis.
I mean,
wait 1 second. Let me finish. It's a little bit more.
all of this comes birth control. Right. With all of this comes everything that you need as a woman to have had put in place to make sure that we were doing better than.
There it is. Okay. So just to give you guys some background, she's talking about or responding to the Supreme Court, I believe, in Arizona, right? Putting forth a decision that abortion is outlawed, or abortion is outlawed except for when the risk of the mother, I believe. She's responding to that because the Arizona Supreme Court went back to a older decision. Do you guys know what year that? Yeah.
1840, I think it was 1860 something, I think.
Right. They went back to 1864. It was enacted in the Arizona Criminal Code legislature that abortion was outlawed except for the life of the mother was at risk. And this is what happened. And she's saying and she was responding to that. What are your thoughts there, Shelley?
Okay. I started off earlier tonight. We talked about how don't underestimate the left. They're going to use every issue. Race and abortion will be another one. Number two, I stated that the left in America and a lot of people in America, but certainly the left, they love death. That's all they want. Any kind of death, any kind of destruction. That's what they set out to do. Even babies in the womb are not safe from the left. They are not, unfortunately so. Whoopi is twisted up a whole lot of stuff because in slavery, nobody wants to go back to slavery, number one. But in slavery, the slave masters were sleeping with the women. I mean, so what is she talking about? I mean, they made even some of the slave women pregnant. So that's how we got the Thomas Jeffersons and all this other history. So she's mixing up a whole lot of stuff to use to make fear and use demagoguery and propaganda, basically just to get votes. They lie, they destroy, and they are death culture.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on this, Crystal? So I want to make sure I understand what's going on. So the Arizona, in their state criminal code has banned abortion at every stage, with the exception only for the life of the mother. Continuously, it looks like, since the first Arizona criminal code was enacted. So the legislature continued that prohibition in every subsequent revision from 1901, 1913, 1928, and 1977. So I don't understand why. What is the issue here? Because they were just going back to what they've always been this way. Is that right?
Yeah. So basically, she's an idiot, but I'll attempt to explain what she means. She again trying to manipulate Black people, quote unquote. The president of the United States of America put y'all back in chains. Like, first of all, excuse me, Whoopi, like, do you feel like that we would go back in chains? I mean, like, do you feel like they even could possibly try to put us back like that? She just shows how ignorant she is. But she's equating abortion because they're technically taking away, quote unquote, taking away the right to kill your baby. No, the Supreme Court repealed Roe versus Wade, which it should have been repealed. You know me, I'm total pro-life. So a lot of states like Arizona, and there's a few other ones, had this law on the books before Roe versus Wade. So when when Roe versus Wade was repealed, then this law is technically there, and so that's up for discussion. And so the Arizona court discussed, should they uphold it or not, and they said yes, uphold it. You guys, like Shelly always says, you can move away from Arizona if you want to go get an abortion, if you want to suck your baby out. Like, the fact that we're not talking about that, what are the rights of the baby? I think that the only I can understand. Let me say this. I can understand. I still don't agree with it, that you wanting to get an abortion if your life is at risk. I can understand that. But me personally, my grandmother unfortunately gave up her life because of her baby. They said that she's going to die if she has that baby, and she chose to not get an abortion. So this is very, very personal to me. If you are a Christian, you understand that your life is not your own. And so, you know, I have no problem with the Supreme Court law or decision, and the fact that Whoopi is trying to equate it to slavery. Oh, yeah, they repealed abortion, so they're gonna now go back and repeal slavery. It's just another attempt to manipulate Black people. And Black people, you are stupid if you accept her saying that. Y'all should be spamming The View right now.
Shiana, what are your thoughts on this issue and her comments? I mean, the Republicans are going to take Black people back to slavery.
It's something that she repeats every time she speaks. What's interesting is that the Soviet Union was the first country in the world to legalize abortion. So it comes from Marxism, the whole practice. It's again, it's the same thing over and over that they're implementing. Abortion is something that came out of a godless ideology that spread around the world. That the same ideology that does not value families, that does not value structure, that wants to deconstruct the entire world. And so abortion is just one of the tools to achieve this kind of chaos and complete lack of anything holy Um, they don't believe in God. They don't believe that there's a soul. And so, of course, for them, for these godless people, this is, it's birth control. So basically, and when she brought up birth control, that it's going to be the next thing. And so, it's the same thing for them. So I'm not surprised that they feel that way, because these are godless people. They're Marxists. They're just they shouldn't be listened to. And the people who are Christians, people who believe in the soul, any religion, they, I don't understand how can they even listen, how can they vote for people who believe in that abortion is okay. I don't get it.
Well, one thing I want to say is, what now that you've explained what's going on here, it actually is contrary to what she's saying. So what Whoopi is saying, because the Arizona has decided to go back to what was originally on the books.
Yep.
So if she's talking about slavery, slavery was originally outlawed on the book. So they're actually doing what is the correct.
I said she's mixing stuff together that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to make sense.
Right. She's upset because, like Crystal was saying, Arizona already had the law in the books. Because of Roe v. Wade was a federal law, it trumped the state law. Okay. So there was, during that period of time, there was an injunction against the state law. Now that Roe v. Wade has been lifted or whatever, repealed, the state law goes back into effect, basically. That's basically
right.
And it doesn't have to make sense for people who are ignorant. And unfortunately, I was watching, Marjorie Taylor Greene. It was like Americans, get off of your leisure and zone into what's going on. These people are destroying your country. And so people like The View are on still on TV, or CNN, and people are watching MSNBC, and then you watch like only conservative media and Fox News, and Fox News is just not serious. You got like Fox News, they're like, oh, look, the dog saved the bird, like stupid stuff, just like silly, dumb stuff. And then the real news is lying to you, like not real news, the serious news, like MSNBC is straight up lying to you. Like, get your head out of the sand and really focus on what's going on. They are just straight up lying.
Yeah, keep in mind, again, this is an election year. Remember, every election year, even in between, but remember, Biden told us that if we didn't vote for him, we weren't black. Yeah. Hillary and Bill Clinton's, they going into the churches singing spirituals and hymns in their fake Southern voices, right? All of these people, the Democrat Party has a history of telling black people they're going to go back, and Joe Biden told them to put us back in chains. When Mitt Romney was running, right? They're gonna put us back in chains. So now we got Whoopi, this black woman telling us we're gonna go back to slavery. I mean, they find these tropes and demagoguery tactics every election, particularly when they are afraid, and they are very afraid of losing.
And then Fox News is like, look how good this restaurant is. Great American food. I want to highlight just foolish, silly stuff. Like, that's the only conservative news outlet. And once Tucker left, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, and not only that, but it's interesting you say that, because, some of my liberal family and friends, they'll say, what do you do? Watch Fox News all day?
No.
And I'm laughing because they literally watch CNN and MSNBC all day.
All day?
No, I don't. I watch all news. I watch CNN and MSNBC to see the lies that they're telling you, dumbass. I watch all of this stuff, and outside news sources like YouTube. We watch a lot of different news sources so I can get to the truth, which is ultimately what I always want to do: get to the truth. So
Real America's Voice is really good. Like, I've been watching Real America, but if you are watching Fox News, you are dumb as a doornail. Like, you're like, turn off Fox News. I don't know what they be reporting, y'all.
Yeah. So we'll continue to focus on that. But like you said, Shelley, it is an election year. And as you said, with Whoopi saying that the Republicans are trying to bring back slavery, to Biden saying they're going to put you back in chains, they're using fear to stoke people or get people to vote for them. And not only that, but they're pushing forward certain stories again to get Black turnout to vote for Democrats. And one of them is this Dexter Reed shooting.
Oh, Lord.
So, not sure if you guys have been following this Dexter Reed shooting, but I want to dig into this. So Dexter Reed, this was out of Chicago, I believe. This is the new liberal media's latest Black Lives Matter movement. So Dexter Reed was pulled over in Chicago for not wearing a seatbelt. He refused to follow the instructions of the officers and then decided to open fire on them. The officers returned fire, killing Reed. So this would normally not be a national story, even if it happened in Chicago, where we do see murders upon murders daily. But Reed also happened to be Black, of course, which caused the liberal journalists and activists, that's their Batman calling, and they pushed this to national news. Now, recently, I believe his family members have come on to local news and national news talking about the incident. We have a clip of just a part of the recent news presser that they did. Take a look here.
The first person to laugh at that mama is not going to heaven.
Well, take a look.
He had just bought his new car 3 days before that, and he was just riding around in his car. He said, "Mom, going for a ride," and they killed him. They killed him. They killed him. They killed him.
Dexter got out of his car unarmed and was shot by the police. Based on the COPA report that you all received this morning, 96 rounds were fired by these officers.
And we must also share with you
the fallout, y'all. The fall.
So he was saying he was unarmed.
He said he got out his car. The at least a little bit that I've seen so far, they shot him in the car while he was in the car. So when did he get out?
Y'all haven't figured out it don't have to be the truth.
No, I know that this is an election year. Like KJ said, this is going to be another one of them Black people that were Michael Brown. This is going to be another martyr, basically. He's going to have a mural on Chicago downtown on the wall somewhere, a garden growing around it. And look, I am not making fun of that mother and his family. I know exactly what it feels like to have a loved one murdered. Or I'm saying murdered. In this case, this was justified.
I was about to say he wasn't murdered.
No, I'm not saying. No, I'm saying to lose a loved one. Let me say unexpectedly. Let me say it that way. To lose a loved one, and that's her child. A mother's going to always grieve. I'm not.
Not me.
But no, that part, KJ, that didn't even look real.
Let my child be anywhere shooting at the police. I'm not going to be on nobody's TV. I'm not going to be falling out. I'm not going to be, oh, he was a good boy. I'm going to say that Negro got exactly what he deserved. We are not talking about the police officers that are scared for their life. My heart sunk when I saw those police officers running.
Absolutely.
Like we sitting up here caring about a thug that was non-compliant. I don't give a dag on it. And then the news media starts showing his graduation picture. He was 18 when he graduated. He was 26 when he shot at the police. Oh, he was a basketball girl.
They always do that.
Star. Boy, bye. If you don't have several seats, I'm telling you, the fact that mama can sit there and talk about they killed him. She should be so shamed out of the the community, but the community has no honor. And so she's able to stand up there and say that after you see your police officers who are supposed to protect and serve running for their lives.
Maybe
No,
she didn't know.
look, any mother that loses a child, again, it's not the
You
mother.
know your son.
It's not the mother. Any mother that loses a child, any father, I can understand their grief. It's not them, but he was absolutely wrong, and the police should have shot back at him, killed him, harmed him, whatever the case may be. He started shooting. As far as we know, he started shooting at the police first.
No grief. You shooting at the police, you deserve exactly what you get. And you better be glad the police got you and that your mother and your father didn't jack you up. How dare you?
Not them. They
I
didn't jack him
wouldn't
up.
shed one single tear. Watch my mouth. Not one single tear. Let my child go be found doing that foolishness.
So you wait. I'm gonna get you in here, Jan.
Not a tear.
So you're saying you
Not a tear. Am I not you guys? Not one tear. If my child, who I raised,
Oh my God.
a respectable person, gets caught shooting at the police, not one single tear.
Yana, what are your thoughts on this? Surely, as a white woman, you have more grief.
Well, grief,
I mean, more empathy.
empathy. That lady, it did look like an act.
It was.
Did. It was everything. The wig and the glasses and I don't know
You going to hell?
everything. It seemed like such an act. I mean, I'm not doubting that she is grieving. Of
Exactly.
course. However, there's lack of accountability, of responsibility that I see constantly, unfortunately, from the Black community, regardless whether it's he got beat up by the police or shot by the police, but for whatever, there was a robbery going on, a theft, the shooting at the police. It's never about, okay, what did the person do wrong? What did the suspect do wrong? Like, it's always the police did something wrong. I mean, the police, there are cases when the police is clearly wrong, but you have to see what triggered that, and learn not to do that again, and teach young people not to get themselves in these kind of situations if you do not want young people in your community to keep putting themselves in these situations where they get shot. Like, I mean, where's the actual concern and care for the young people in the Black community? If there's lack of accountability, then they're raised that way. They're raised to argue with the police, to attack the police, and to attack any type of authority. And it's not turning well for them. So if you don't, I mean, clearly whoever is not teaching these young people or teaching them wrong, they actually do not care about their lives.
Yeah, but when you spoke of accountability, when is the legacy media going to be held to account for the lies they continue to perpetuate? I mean, we saw this with Michael Brown. We saw this with the Taylor girl. Michael Brown, they said his hands up, don't shoot. That was a lie. I mean, now this, they're saying that, he was unarmed and this was a Black man. You shot on, unarmed. Why? When are they going to be held to account?
Look, KJ, I don't think they're going to. Yeah. If your children are being killed by their actions of no accountability, regardless, or whatever the case may be, of course, like Yana said, there are some cases where the police are absolutely wrong, right? Yeah. But if your children are dying literally every day on some street corner, mostly by their own actions, their own people that look like them, and that doesn't change your mindset, that doesn't change your behaviors, then nothing will.
Yeah. I'm with you, Shelly. Like, I don't know how, like, you hold these people accountable because they just perpetuate the lie. Like, I still got people telling me, you don't agree with Breonna Taylor, and all the evidence in the world is out there that Breonna Taylor was a drug dealer. Nobody is talking about the fact that when the cops visited Breonna Taylor's house, one of them got shot and he returned fire. Like, the cop returned fire. Nobody's talking about the cop that got a bullet in his behind. Like, nobody's talking about that. You're talking about the drug dealer, Breonna Taylor, who they issued a warrant for her house. Like, I just don't understand how people, and I get it. People are not as tapped in as we are. But God, they better, because they're just oblivious, and the mainstream media just tells them stuff, and then they just.
Well, there was one cop that was shot. There was one cop that was shot. I think that was hit by this Reed, whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
And even in this one, I mean, Dexter Reed,
they were black cops, if I'm not mistaken. The cops I saw were black.
Yeah. And even in this one, Dexter Reed, he had on a ski mask. I mean, what's up with that? Now we're seeing this is another latent outcome of this scam-demic. Now, all of these young people, these guys who are out here committing crimes, they walk around with these ski masks on, the shiesties. You know, can't say anything to them anymore. And now we have this. I mean, this guy, same thing. They have these shiesty masks on. You can't even see what they're doing. Most of the time, they're up to no good. And this is another thing that the scam-demic brought about. We didn't see this type of thing where all these people doing crazy stuff, walking around with these ski masks on all day, every day. Now that's all we see.
Yeah, and he was rolling up the window. They said, don't roll up the window. He's rolling up the window. They said, don't lock the door. He's locking the door. And then all of a sudden, shoot. Like, if that doesn't hurt you, or if that, like, you guys, these are the people that we hired. They didn't do anything wrong. They're here to protect and serve. And can you imagine, you are just working your job, supposed to protect the community, and you stop somebody and they start shooting at you? Like, where's the compassion for the police officer? Like, my heart just sunk for the police officers. And you guys, when we have no police officers, my parents are from Trinidad, and in Trinidad you can be murdered and you call 911 or whatever, and they say, I'm sorry, we don't have a car to send to you, we'll be there tomorrow. Like, that is where we're going, to third world. And y'all, and honestly, I know it's gonna be the blacks that be like, how did we get here? We ain't got no police. And it's the white people's fault because the police are in the white community and not in our community. We will have the audacity to say it.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, the BLM movement continue to push this hands up, don't shoot, stop, don't shoot rallying call, and the whole thing was a lie. The whole thing was Michael Brown was a lie.
Freddie Gray was a lie. George Floyd, don't even get me started.
Well, now we're going to, again, this Reed case is another mark, if you will, in my book, that this is the election year. They're going to ride this. They're going to use this. I don't know what they're going to call it. Black men being killed for not wearing seatbelts. I don't know. They're going to, they're going to name it something that's going to be catchy. And unfortunately, many more Black men are going to be killed.
Yeah. Well, we will continue to follow this story and see where it goes, but continue to push out the truth in regards to this, because for some reason, the lie gets more traffic than the truth.
Yeah.
The lie gets more traffic than the truth.
It does.
Yeah.
Y'all, we got to have a good summer. Like, I'm telling you, we are not doing this. We're not doing this, y'all.
Yeah, I mean, the way things are heading, it looks like we're gonna have another summer of love.
Y'all gonna fall for it? Like, are we falling for it? Like, we can't. And like you said, we gotta scream the truth. Like Candace Owens said, scream the truth louder than they can scream the lies.
Right. All right. Well, we are at the end of our time tonight, ladies. Again, we were looking at the Iranian launched drones and missiles at Israel today. So want to keep you guys updated on that. That is still going on. Looks like Iran says attack has concluded. So that is the latest headline. Says here, Iran's mission to the United Nations in New York said in a series of statements posted on X Saturday night tonight, which was early Sunday morning in Israel, that its retaliatory attack on Israel has concluded. And I quote, the matter can be deemed concluded, it said. It went on to threaten more severe responses going forward should Israel make another mistake, in quotations, while telling Israel's ally, the United States, to stay away. So here we are with
how
that.
Dare you? How dare you? And all because we don't have a president that can squash the beef. You tell us to stay away?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
You know who we are?
Yeah, well, that's what they said.
Well, they
I just refreshed breaking news. Biden responds, said he had a accident. He peed himself after hearing this.
KJ, y'all don't listen to KJ.
I wouldn't be surprised.
KJ, he can't pee himself. He's in the bed. He's asleep.
All right.
Why you leaving?
Final thoughts, ladies. Final thoughts for the night. I'll start with you, Yana, on this. Final thoughts.
Well, pray for Israel. Pray for the world. We need a strong leader. That's the only way that we're going to survive as a nation.
Absolutely. Crystal, final thoughts for you.
Pray for Israel. Pray for our allies. You guys, like Yana said, do not be lukewarm in the middle of this. Like, you have to choose a side, and you have to choose the side that goes most with our Judeo-Christian values. Do not allow these distractions and this foolishness. Oh, the Jews don't believe in Christ and all of that. They believe in the same Bible that we believe in, and we have to stand strong with our values, because I'm telling you, you do not want the Muslim values.
Okay. And Eve, Shelly, your final thoughts.
So a couple things. All the topics we talked about tonight, and Israel may be the lesser, if you will, of the race lines that I see through all of these. Israel, Reed, and OJ. This is the summer, what's coming up on the summer 2024. Race is going to be used to keep us divided, if not even more so. It's going to be an issue from the Democrat, from the left, again, to just cause destruction and death and just keeping us divided. That's number one. But I'm going to say what I always say, what I have been saying, is to strap up, stand up, show up, and speak up. You have to. We have to speak out. We have to speak back. We are in a crisis. Our country is under attack. We have a country to save, and the left is very, very afraid. They will not stop at anything.
Yeah. I'll say the same thing as you ladies have said. I'll end on a quick Bible verse for you, Nehemiah 4. Verse 15, when our enemies heard that we knew of their plans and that God had frustrated them, we all returned to our work on the wall. But from then on, only half my men worked, while the other half stood guard with spears, shields, bows, and coats of mail. The leaders stationed themselves behind the people of Judah who were building the wall. The laborers carried on their work with one hand supporting their load and one hand holding a weapon. All the builders had a sword belted to their side. The trumpeter stayed with me to sound the alarm. So I say to you, community, build and battle. That's what we're here to do. Pray, plan, build. Our rallying call for this year is to be aware and prepare. And that's what we're here to do. No longer talking to the sheep. We are here to wake the lions, build and battle. You are going to have to fight. Remember, there is a cause that we must fight for and a cause that you must fight against. So I leave you with that tonight. Until next time. Yep, there it is.
Somebody said, get it off the floor. It's not on the floor.
Until next time, Count your blessings and live a life of
Wait, we
purpose.
have one more super chatter. Did you see it?
Oh, we do. Oh no, I didn't see it. Oh, let me see here. Who do we have?
Jason.
Jason. Oh wow. Thank you so much, Jason.
And
Says
Crystal is so smart
and
beautiful.
beautiful.
I agree.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. All right. Thank you so much. We certainly appreciate all of your super chats tonight. Thank you guys so much. We will see you on Monday. Monday, we will see you. We have a special
guest.
Absolutely coming with us on Monday. That's going to bring the heat, the fire. So definitely stay tuned. It's Monday at 9 p.m., right? Yes, Monday at 9 p.m. And we will put out the post. So stay. If you aren't subscribed, please subscribe so you know when we post new content. Hit that notification bell so you get our notifications. Again, we will be live again Monday.
And share.
Yes, share. All right. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.